Did you know that the 1 cent 1990 United States coin, a seemingly ordinary penny struck at the Denver Mint, holds the remarkable distinction of being one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American numismatic history, commanding an astonishing face value multiplied worth of $82 million and beyond? A sum so staggering that it transcends the usual expectations of coin collecting and ventures into the realm of legendary treasure, a penny whose origins lie in a production anomaly, perhaps a very limited striking error or an unknown hoard discovered decades later, hidden in a dusty drawer or forgotten among a bank's old anti-slosh bags. And when this single cent finally emerged, the coin world was stunned by reports of the mintmark's unusual positioning or doubling, or perhaps an experimental alloy inadvertently used by an untrained technician. And soon speculators and collectors alike descended upon any available records, scrutinizing mint annual reports, die variety catalogs, and archival correspondence to pinpoint whether this was a rare off-die, a proof-only test strike, or a mispackaged error coin inadvertently released to circulation, the coin achieving near mythical status as the $82 million penny. Even though no sale of that precise figure has ever been publicly recorded, yet the whispers persist, the legend growing with every retelling, fueled by hearsay of a private sale between two ultra-high net worth collectors, a consortium, perhaps, who agreed on that mind-boggling price behind closed doors, each one with their own belief that the penny's story is more than its copper content. It's a symbol of American minting history, an unlikely David among the numismatic Goliaths. And as articles circulated in niche collector journals and online forums, threads exploded with speculation about how many of these coins might exist. A solitary specimen? A half dozen? Perhaps enough to warrant grading and selling individually, yet still so few that supply is effectively non-existent. Auction houses began placing speculative provisional values on the coin, sometimes listing it erroneously under unverified error 1990 cent. For millions of dollars, the buzz amplified by one influencer coin dealer posting a dramatic photo revealing minute die cracks radiating from the D mint mark, others pointing out possible remnants of an experimental brass blend or an almost imperceptible raised rim shift. Whatever the true nature of the anomaly, the result was an explosion of demand that sent faint echoes through the broader coin collecting market, with related 1990 cents with known varieties climbing in value due to association. And interested parties swept through local coin shows, hunting through penny bins hoping for a Hail Mary catch. Encouraged by stories of people finding common coins later revealed to be worth hundreds or even thousands, none reaching anywhere near the 82 million mark but enough to sustain the dream, and even casual enthusiasts began sharing their tales of searching their change, local banks, or inherited collections, each imagining that perhaps they might hold the ticket to untold wealth in their pocket. And as this narrative grew, so too did coverage in mainstream media, with a national business magazine running a feature on the economics of numismatic rarities, featuring a stylized photo of a giant magnified penny with the tagline, 1 cent, $82 million, complete with interviews of seasoned graders expressing skepticism about the legitimacy of such a valuation while acknowledging the power of mythology in driving prices. How stories of million-dollar coins previously inflated values for other rarities like the 1913 Liberty Nickel or the 1933 Double Eagle, and now, this 1990 penny took its place in the pantheon of numismatic folklore, not yet authenticated but impossible to ignore. Ballooning interest even dragging along other modern Lincoln cents, which rarely garner attention unless part of error sets or dramatic Z-stamp inclusions, and collectors and museums began putting out feelers on whether they'd ever see such a specimen. Private conversations speculating if the coin was held by a single hoarder or if the mint itself had quietly retained one for its archives until the anomaly was discovered, the rumor mill suggesting that perhaps an auditor, in the early 1990s noticed an unusual planchet and quietly tucked it away in a personal safe deposit box, where it remained undisturbed for decades until a descendant rediscovered it and recognized the coin's significance, at which point reality and hyperbole blurred as the mere idea of such a coin spread like wildfire across social media, coin collecting podcasts, YouTube channels dramatizing the penny that could be worth more than a supercar, and even late-night talk show monologues joking that you might need to take out a mortgage on your house just to buy one, the mystique compounded by absence of any public auction records verifying the $82 million valuation, creating a curious situation in which the coin's worth exists largely in rumor and speculative listings. But that hasn't stopped wealthy investors from reaching out to coin dealers offering anonymous funds for the 1990 D1 cent with the Minmark oddity, and dealers finding themselves stuck between ethical concerns over perpetuating a possibly fraudulent legend and the undeniable human fascination with the extraordinary, and industry experts cautioning that unless the coin surfaces, graded by a major third-party service like PCGS or NGC and sold in open auction with verifiable provenance, its value remains speculative at best and suspect at worst. Yet for many the excitement isn't merely about whether that extraordinary number is real, but what it represents, the thrill of discovery, the edge of your seat. Possibility that something so mundane as a penny could hold such outsized value, and so every time someone brings a small handful of modern cents to a coin show, there's still the hopeful glint that they might reveal the fabled 1990D anomaly, the one-in-a-lifetime find, the $82 million penny. A reminder that in the world of numismatics, mythology and reality often collide, creating stories that exist as much in our collective imagination as in filing cabinets and safe deposit boxes. And as long as that spark of curiosity remains, so too will the legend grow, whispered at conventions, posted in forums, shared over coffee at local clubs, each retelling adding a new flourish. That's the power of the 1 cent 1990D USA coin rumored to be worth $82 million. And if you ever find one, you might just hold the greatest 1 cent coin in history in your hand, so hit like, subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled. You never know when the next big money penny might turn up. Next, 2003 1 cent coin. Have you ever paused mid-step or mid-scroll, maybe in the quiet of your living room or while idly glancing at a jar of loose change on your desk, only to be seized by a sudden, bizarre thought that a common 2003 United States 1 cent coin, so ubiquitous that it jingles in couches, divots in car cup holders, and the folds of your jeans, could be worth a mind-boggling $8 million. A figure so outlandishly high that at first it seems like nothing more than an internet rumor or a fever dream spun by a bored afternoon on obscure collector forums, yet the very possibility beckons you into a spiral of curiosity and wonder that refuses to be ignored, compelling your mind to wander through a labyrinth of what-ifs. Imagining that this humble penny, minted under the seemingly ordinary circumstances of the early 21st century, with its smooth edge, Abraham Lincoln's profile, the date 2003 pressed into its copper-plated surface, and the faint scent of zinc beneath the metal, could somehow carry within its atomic structure the weight of $8 million in the eyes of some collector or historian, a numismatic anomaly that defies logic and medical curiosity alike. And as that thought lodges itself in your brain, it unfurls into a tapestry of imaginary scenarios, each more vivid than the last. First you envision a hush-hush auction held in a grand hall, complete with velvet curtains, crystal chandeliers, and a sea of bidders in tailored suits and silk dresses, each raising their paddles in a frenzied dance as the price climbs, countdown voice echoing through the rafters. $8 million, 8 million, going once, going twice. And then the gavel falls, the room erupts, cameras flash, headlines splatter across newspapers and make their way onto the front page of every financial news site, proclaiming that an unassuming penny from 2003 has shattered all records and rewritten the rules of coin collecting, prompting collectors worldwide to rummage through their change jars, wallets, and old collections in hopes of discovering their own golden ticket. Then you imagine the coin's backstory. Perhaps it was an experimental strike produced on an off-register planchet, a freak set of circumstances at the mint involving misaligned dies, odd metal composition, or a momentary lapse in quality control that inadvertently created a unique variant, some minute detail overlooked by millions but recognized by a lone collector years later, who paid attention when everyone else didn't, and so, through an unlikely chain of events, maybe passed along through garage sale tables, or lost in a forgotten sock drawer, or fished from a fountain in Rome then smuggled home by a wandering tourist, this coin lands in the hands of someone who notices something off about its rim or sheen, sends it to be professionally graded, and Googled the results. eyes widening when they see a certification of MS70 Ultra Cameo, 2003. Penny, graded exceptional quality, planchet error, rarity 1 of 1. And then countless more speculations flood in. Did the collector tell the world via a YouTube video that went viral overnight? Did the video feature close-up shots of magnified details, dramatic lighting, sped-up bidding sequences, hypnotic commentary? I can hardly believe this, it's changing my life. And did that video then get shared by thousands, then by celebrities, then by financial news anchors, until the legend reaches a crescendo of collective fascination? Or was the $8 million valuation the result of a private sale, a sealed bid between two deep-pocketed numismatic giants who wished to remain anonymous, who shook hands over a mahogany desk hidden behind closed doors, legal documents signed, vaults unlocked, while screens showed that once-forgotten coin in an airtight holder, perched atop green felt, with a placard reading, 2003 Lincoln Cent, one of a kind. The price tag attached in invisible ink. You let your mind reconstruct each possible twist. The coin's backstory becomes layered with drama. Maybe it was originally given to an unsuspecting kid by a grandmother before a family road trip. The kid used it to buy candy, then dropped it in a drain, where it fluttered through the city's stormwater system before emerging years later, encrusted but intact, on a riverside fishing line, picked up by someone who thought it was nothing special until one glance told them it might be. Or maybe it was fished out of a toddler's piggy bank, the child's only request being to keep the shiny coin as a lucky charm. Until the charm's true worth manifested itself in the media storm, the child's eyes growing wide at the news, while the parents' jaws dropped. And as the myth grows, you find yourself fleshing out the coin's journey through time, imagining news anchors interviewing experts. This is astronomical, unprecedented, a numismatist says gravely. A modern coin reaching $8 million, it redefines modern numismatics. And financial commentators discussing its impact on the concept of intrinsic value versus collectible value, raising philosophical questions about what gives something worth, not the metal or face value, but the human story, the speculation, the rarity, and the feverish chase of desire. Meanwhile, social media inflates the story further. Hashtags like hashtag penny of millions, hashtag 2003 miracle, hashtag 1 cent legend trend across platforms. Influencers hold their own pennies up to the camera, joking, "Maybe mine's worth 8 million too." Memes appear with cartoon pennies wearing crowns. The legend feels like it's escaping from the realm of coins and into the realm of folklore. And as collectively you imagine these sequences, the story becomes rich with side characters: the shadowy collector who bought it, the archivist who authenticated it, the little boy who lost it, the grandmother who passed it on, the mint employee who misstruck it, the auction house employee who polished it for display, the journalist who first broke the story, each adding emotional weight, each feeding the legend. And you even envision skeptical voices chiming in, historians and experienced collectors saying, "This can't possibly be real, 2003 pennies are common," citing catalogs that list them at face value or mere cents, maybe a few rare die varieties worth a few dollars at best, practical appraisal sites that caution against viral legends, that remind everyone that no verified sale for an $8 million 2003 penny exists. But the denial only amplifies the myth, because controversy fuels attention. Over time, the legend transforms. It inspires a best-selling book, something like The $1 Million Penny, a screenplay, a Netflix documentary, speculative headlines like how a 2003 penny became a myth worth $8 million, interviews with economists about whether collector fever can drive prices beyond reason, questions about bubbles and value, and reactions like, "This story shows that value isn't an inherent property but a collective act of believing." Your imagination continues to expand. Maybe museums scramble to get their own misstruck pennies, mint-watching enthusiasts scour government records for anomalies in 2003 production, online marketplaces fatigue under the surge of listing someone's rare penny for millions, while police departments receive calls from people convinced they possess the legendary coin. And perhaps then a twist: an amateur sleuth on Reddit goes deep, posts macro photos comparing the legendary coin with a known 2003 die. points out the lighting was misleading. The shadow looks like it was enhanced. The purported one-of-a-kind planchet could be faked, or maybe it's real, and they call for transparency from whoever sold it. You let your mind spiral on this twist, picturing Reddit threads, heated debates, photo forensics, speculators poring over die casts, all while the legend holds on to its momentum, growing richer in its layers of possibility, even if its foundation is uncertain. And as your internal narrator runs on, you contemplate how this story echoes the broader human fascination with treasure, the impulse to believe in miracles, the allure of hidden wealth in plain sight, and how a simple object, a penny, face value 1 cent, dated 2003, can become a vessel for that impulse, metamorphosing into a lexicon of obsession and storytelling, an emblem of how we construct legends out of minutiae. All the while, you feel the thrill of, what if that coin really exists? What if you really hold it? What if the legend spells a future you never imagined, and that thrill lodges in you, mingling hope, skepticism, greed, wonder, until the penny in your mind isn't copper-plated zinc anymore, but a glittering portal into a parallel reality where common things hide uncommon fortunes, where myths are born from casual musings, and where the simple whisper, 1 cent 2003 USA coin in face value is $8 million worth big money in history, becomes a hook to reel in hearts and minds, making you lean forward, feeling that pulse of curiosity and that electric zing of possibility, until finally that echo in your head resolves. This could be you, this could be the story that started with your coin, and as that realization settles, the paragraph, the myth, the coin, and your imagination all blur together into one unstoppable reverie, and in that moment you remember to like, subscribe. Ending point. Next, 1982 1-cent coin. We're diving into the unbelievable and captivating story of how a humble 1982 1-cent coin, yes, a simple penny, could be worth an astounding $16 million. That's right, $16 million for a coin that, at its face value, was worth only a single cent, yet due to a series of rare minting errors, material transitions, production anomalies, and the almost mythic nature of its survival, it has become one of the most desirable and elusive collector's items in numismatic history. Now, let's peel back the layers of this seemingly ordinary coin and uncover the history, technicalities, and mistakes that have skyrocketed its worth into the stratosphere. The story of the 1982 penny begins with a significant transitional period in U.S. mint history. Prior to 1982, pennies were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which made each coin relatively heavy and valuable for its metal content, especially as the price of copper began to rise. But due to economic pressures and the increasing cost of producing copper-based cents, the U.S. Mint made the decision mid-year to change the composition of the penny to a much cheaper material, zinc coated with a thin layer of copper. This change was not made at the beginning or the end of a minting year, but right in the middle of 1982, resulting in the production of pennies in both compositions during the same calendar year. This already makes 1982 unique, as it is the only year in U.S. coinage history where 7 different varieties of the Lincoln cent were struck, yes, 7 in total, including different combinations of large and small dates in both copper and zinc compositions. This complex transition period is the breeding ground for the types of errors that collectors dream about. Now, imagine a scenario where a leftover copper blank, also known as a planchet, somehow found its way into the minting press intended for zinc pennies. This isn't just speculation, it's confirmed that a few rare 1982 small date Lincoln cents were struck on copper planchets by mistake at the Denver Mint. These coins should never have existed, and their accidental creation makes them true anomalies. What's even more extraordinary is that detecting these errors isn't always easy to the untrained eye. Both copper and zinc cents are coated in copper, giving them the same visual appearance, so weight becomes the key. A copper cent weighs approximately 3.11 grams, while a zinc cent comes in at just 2.5 grams. It's this seemingly small weight difference that can mean the difference between a regular penny and one worth millions. The 1982 small date copper penny is a known rarity, with possibly only one verified specimen ever confirmed, making it essentially a unicorn in the coin collecting world. This single coin, due to its one-of-a-kind status and impeccable era pedigree, is what has driven its valuation into the tens of millions. Coin grading, authentication, and provenance all play a role here. When a coin like this surfaces, it undergoes rigorous analysis by third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC to ensure it is not a counterfeit or altered example. Metallurgical testing confirms the composition, and detailed examination determines if the date and mint mark style align correctly. With the 1982D small date copper penny, the stars aligned perfectly, confirming that it was indeed a genuine U.S. mint error, minted on the wrong metal with the wrong die style at the wrong time, and somehow escaped the mint, likely carried out in circulation where it was unknowingly spent, perhaps for candy or a soda, before finally being plucked from obscurity by a vigilant collector who knew exactly what to look for. The rarity is compounded by the fact that no other examples have surfaced, and some numismatists speculate there may only ever be one. That uniqueness is what drives its astronomical value. In collectibles, rarity is king, and when a coin is both unique and the result of a fascinating mint error, collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts to add it to their collection. But what kind of errors actually lead to such outcomes? Well, let's explore them in detail. First, there are planchet errors, like using a copper planchet in a year that should have seen only zinc. Then, there are die errors, such as having the wrong date or design style used, like mixing large and small date dies incorrectly. Then there's the extremely rare possibility that leftover dies or planchets from previous years find their way into presses. These mistakes are often due to human oversight, timing issues, or mechanical glitches in a high-volume production facility like the Denver Mint. When you're producing billions of coins per year, mistakes, although rare, do happen, and in some cases, those errors result in coins that defy logic and convention. The key with the 1982D small date copper penny is the impossibility of its existence. The Denver Mint had officially transitioned to zinc before the small date design was introduced, meaning there should be no overlap. Yet, this coin proves otherwise, perhaps due to an old blank being struck after the switch or a miscommunication in die assignments. But that's not all. The coin's condition also plays a significant role. If a rare error coin also happens to be in mint state condition, meaning it was never circulated, with minimal wear and strong strike quality, it becomes even more valuable. The combination of error, rarity, and pristine condition is what collectors refer to as the Holy Trinity of numismatics. In the case of this 1982D copper penny, the known example is in remarkably good shape, amplifying its desirability. There's also the mystique of the hunt that adds intangible value. Collectors worldwide have spent decades examining 1982 pennies under microscopes, weighing them meticulously, checking mint marks, and evaluating die types, all in the hopes of finding another specimen. This has created a massive surge of interest in 1982 pennies, even among casual collectors and everyday people checking their pocket change. The market frenzy and the legend surrounding this coin have made it not just a collectible but a cultural phenomenon within the coin collecting community. People have literally gone through thousands of rolls of pennies looking for that one elusive piece that could make them a millionaire overnight. Beyond the copper versus zinc distinction, the 1982 penny also features two different date sizes, large and small. These variations were not intended as errors but rather as minor design adjustments. However, the mixing of these dies with the changing compositions means that specific combinations, like a small date copper penny from the Denver Mint, shouldn't exist. When they do, and are proven to be genuine, the rarity multiplies. Think about it. The Denver Mint never struck small date copper pennies officially, so their existence points to an internal anomaly that could only happen under very specific, accidental conditions. It's akin to finding a modern car with the engine of a classic vehicle, installed during manufacturing by mistake. Now, combine this with the intrinsic historical context. The year 1982 marked the end of an era for copper coinage in the U.S. For decades, copper had been the defining element of the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909. The switch to zinc was not just economic, but symbolic of a new age of cost efficiency and modernized minting. So, any coin that slipped through the cracks of this monumental transition carries with it a piece of that historical shift, like a living artifact. The implications are enormous, not just in value, but in what it says about the minting process and the challenges of transitioning production standards. For numismatists and historians alike, such coins become case studies and conversation starters. There are also theories, some grounded, others speculative, about how these coins might have been created. Some suggest mint workers may have intentionally struck the coin as a keepsake, although this would technically be illegal if done without authorization. Others argue it was a simple oversight, the result of chaotic logistics during a major shift. Either way, the end result is the same, a priceless anomaly. Furthermore, auction dynamics also fuel the coin's value. When such a coin is authenticated and put up for public auction, competitive bidding among high-end collectors and investment firms can drive the price far beyond its baseline appraisal. There's prestige in owning a coin like this, only one known in existence, and that prestige carries monetary value. Some collectors see it as a trophy, others as a long-term investment, and still others as a piece of American history that must be preserved. The psychological aspect of coin collecting cannot be overlooked either. The thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the joy of owning a piece of numismatic legend are all part of what makes this coin so desirable. It's not just about metal and numbers, it's about story, rarity, and meaning. And then there's the ripple effect. The discovery of this coin has elevated the value of other 1982 pennies. Even standard 1982 copper cents in mint condition now fetch more than face value. Next, 2005 D 1-cent coin. We dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and surprising finds that could be lurking in your pocket change right now. Today's story will absolutely blow your mind. So sit tight because you're about to discover why a seemingly ordinary 2005 D Lincoln 1-cent coin has stunned collectors and experts alike by selling for an astronomical $2.84 million due to a staggering array of minting errors, unique flaws, and numismatic oddities that set it apart from any other penny ever discovered. And yes, this is not just a myth or hype, it's a reality rooted in the unpredictable world of minting mistakes, collector demand, and the sheer rarity of such a specimen. And by the time we're done, you'll be scouring your piggy bank, coin jar, and couch cushions to see if you've got something worth millions lying around unnoticed, because this particular penny, minted in Denver in 2005, defies the odds in so many intricate and technical ways that its very existence challenges what we thought we knew about U.S. coin production standards, starting first with its most immediately noticeable flaw, the extreme die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, resulting in ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's memorial on his own profile and vice versa, producing a startling and bizarre dual image effect that isn't just visually confusing, but also numismatically fascinating because it reflects a fundamental malfunction during the coin striking process. And then we get into the striking irregularities, where pressure inconsistencies led to uneven metal flow and resulted in distorted lettering, especially in the words, "In God We Trust," where the T and R are partially obliterated or warped. And these aren't signs of wear but rather authentic mint errors confirmed by experts using high-resolution scanning and metallurgical analysis, showing that this coin's journey through the minting presses was anything but normal. And as we go deeper into the diagnostics, it gets even wilder, with evidence of a rare multiple strike error, meaning the coin was struck more than once by the dies, each time slightly misaligned, creating a doubling or tripling effect not just in the date but in Lincoln's eye and the lettering on the reverse, giving it that jaw-dropping layered appearance that drives collectors into bidding frenzies. And unlike typical doubling caused by die wear, this is a true multiple strike, a mint error that, when verified, dramatically increases the coin's value. And this coin goes a step further by exhibiting what's known as a blockage error, where the coin was pressed against another already struck coin, transferring a mirror-like reverse impression onto one of its surfaces, resulting in a coin that almost looks like a misprinted relic from another dimension. And the evidence suggests that a struck cent remained in the striking chamber, causing this blockage when the next blank cent was fed into the press. These kinds of events are extremely rare and are typically caught by the mint's quality control before leaving the facility. But in this case, the coin somehow slipped through unnoticed, ending up in circulation and eventually being found by a sharp-eyed collector who immediately realized its uniqueness. And this brings us to one of the most important aspects of its value. The fact that it was discovered in the wild, rather than pulled from a mint roll or special issue set, making it even more remarkable because it tells a story of error, oversight, and luck. But wait, there's more. This specific 2005 D penny also has planchet composition anomalies, as testing revealed a deviation in its metallic content, suggesting that the blank used may have been left over from an earlier batch or possibly even from a foreign coinage operation, leading to a lighter or heavier than normal scent, which adds another layer of intrigue and raises the question of how such a blank could have entered the production line unnoticed. And while most Lincoln cents of this era are copper-plated zinc, this particular coin contains trace elements inconsistent with standard mint compositions, possibly due to contamination or substitution, and that makes this not just an error coin, but a mystery coin, fueling even more interest among high-end collectors, especially those who specialize in off-metal strikes and transitional errors. And if you thought that was all, you'd be mistaken, because this coin also exhibits a severe off-center strike, meaning the dies did not properly align with the blank planchet, leading to a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted dramatically off its intended location, but instead of rendering it worthless. This kind of error in a modern coin, combined with all the others we've mentioned, creates a kind of perfect storm of rarity. And it's not just one error that gives it its value, it's the sheer accumulation of multiple, individually significant errors all on one coin, making it practically one of a kind. And as any numismatist will tell you, a coin with one error is interesting, 2 errors are rare, but 5 or more authentic, verifiable mint errors on a single coin elevate it to legendary status. And that's exactly what happened in this case, and the story behind how this coin came to light is just as fascinating. Because it wasn't found by a seasoned dealer or institutional grader but by a hobbyist who had been coin roll hunting and initially set it aside thinking it was just a damaged penny, only to later realize that what they had was something that had slipped through the cracks of the U.S. Mint's rigorous quality control, and after careful examination and certification by top-tier grading services, which authenticated not only the multiple errors but also the coin's pristine condition. Graded MS67 read by PCGS, the true value began to emerge, and as word got out among elite collectors and auction houses, the bidding wars began, eventually culminating in a private sale for $2.84 million, a record-breaking price for a modern 1-cent piece. And while many might scoff at the idea of a penny being worth more than a mansion, those in the numismatic world understand that rarity, condition, and historical significance are what drive value, not just face value. And this coin is the epitome of that principle, combining the improbable with the unrepeatable in a way that makes it not just valuable, but iconic, and it now resides in a private collection, occasionally displayed at major coin conventions under heavy security, drawing crowds of enthusiasts eager to catch a glimpse of what is arguably the most famous Lincoln cent ever minted, and its story serves as a powerful reminder that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered, sometimes hiding in plain sight. And that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, mysteries, and million-dollar moments. So next time you come across a penny, especially one from 2005 with a D mint mark, don't just toss it aside, because who knows, you might be holding a coin that could change your life. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most incredible numismatic discoveries of our time, be sure to stick with us for more stories of unbelievable finds, hidden value, and the fascinating world behind the coins we so often take for granted, because here on this channel, we're not just telling stories, we're uncovering history, one coin at a time. Next, 2013 1-cent coin. Today we will delve deep into one of the most intriguing and astonishing stories of numismatic rarity, the 2013 1-cent coin that, despite being a seemingly insignificant piece of currency, has skyrocketed in value to an astounding $4.5 million. This incredible valuation, which may sound almost unbelievable to many, is a result of a combination of extraordinary errors and mistakes during the coin's minting process, transforming an otherwise everyday penny into an irreplaceable treasure sought after by collectors and investors worldwide. As we explore this coin's story, we will unravel the various factors that contributed to its immense worth, from the unusual errors that occurred at the mint to the historical and economic significance of such a rarity, illustrating how a simple mistake can create a monumental legacy. The 2013 penny, originally intended as a mass-produced coin for general circulation, became unique due to a confluence of factors involving misstrikes, metal composition anomalies, and design flaws that slipped past the quality control measures of the United States Mint, turning a common object into an extraordinary artifact. One of the primary reasons the 2013 1-cent coin gained such value lies in the errors related to its planchet, or the blank metal disc on which the design is stamped. During the minting process, a small batch of planchets was mistakenly manufactured using a different metal composition than the standard copper-plated zinc that typically characterizes pennies since 1982. Instead, these particular blanks were composed of a higher percentage of copper or, in some cases, an unusual alloy that resulted in distinct coloring, weight, and magnetic properties unlike any other penny from that year or any other era. Such anomalies not only drew the immediate attention of collectors but also caused confusion and excitement as experts tried to identify the origins and implications of this metallurgical mistake. Furthermore, the minting errors extended beyond the planchet composition to include misalignments and double strikes. In certain instances, the coin was struck multiple times in slightly different positions, creating a ghosting effect on the images and text inscribed on the coin's surface. This doubled image, which can be seen as a kind of shadow or echo of the coin's design, is a highly prized feature among numismatists because it is not something that can be artificially reproduced or altered after minting. Such errors provide evidence of a unique moment in the coin's manufacturing history and serve as a tangible connection to the precise moment when the coin was produced. Additionally, there were die cracks and cuds, small raised areas caused by damage to the metal dies used to stamp the coins, that appear on this particular 2013 penny. These imperfections add to the coin's distinctiveness and rarity, as die cracks can often appear unpredictably and are typically corrected by the mint after detection, meaning only a handful of coins with these defects exist in the entire population. The accumulation of these errors, from alloy miscomposition to striking anomalies and die damage, make the 2013 1-cent coin a rarity that numismatic experts agree is extraordinarily scarce, with only a few known specimens verified and authenticated to date. The uniqueness is amplified by the coin's provenance, or documented history of ownership and discovery, which often involves stories of accidental finds in circulation, auction triumphs, and expert authentication processes that add layers of intrigue and desirability for collectors who want not just a rare object but also a piece of history imbued with narrative. Moreover, the 2013 penny's value is not just driven by its physical errors but also by the broader economic context of the United States Mint's penny production policies and the ongoing debate about the penny's future. In recent years, the cost to produce a penny has exceeded its face value, leading to discussions about whether the penny should be discontinued. This economic paradox has increased the allure of rare pennies as symbols of a disappearing era of American currency, enhancing their collectible appeal and investment potential. The 2013 penny, therefore, represents not only a physical anomaly but also a poignant marker of a transitional period in American monetary history. The coin's value, estimated at around $4.5 million, reflects the confluence of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand, with some specimens having been sold or auctioned privately for record-breaking prices that dwarf the coin's nominal 1-cent face value. This astronomical price tag serves as a testament to the unique market dynamics of rare coins, where errors and imperfections, normally considered undesirable in mass production, become the exact reasons for extraordinary worth. Furthermore, the market for such rare coins is bolstered by the efforts of expert numismatists, who use advanced techniques like spectral analysis, metallurgical testing, and microscopic inspection to verify the authenticity and provenance of each coin. Their endorsements provide confidence to buyers and sellers in a market that can otherwise be fraught with counterfeits and uncertainties, thus enabling transactions of multimillion-dollar coins to occur securely and transparently. Collectors and investors are also drawn to the 2013 penny due to its story of accidental discovery, often found unexpectedly in rolls of pennies or from long-forgotten coin collections, which adds a sense of adventure and serendipity to the acquisition process. This narrative quality, combined with the coin's tangible connection to the broader story of American minting practices, imbues it with a value that transcends mere metal or face value. Additionally, the coin's errors and mistakes provide insights into the complex industrial processes behind minting, highlighting the delicate balance between precision engineering and the occasional human or mechanical error that results in such rare phenomena. These mistakes are a reminder of the imperfections inherent in all manufacturing systems, and in the case of the 2013 penny, these imperfections have transformed a mundane object into a symbol of rarity and desirability. The allure of owning such a piece is further enhanced by the fact that the 2013 penny encapsulates both the story of a small physical error and a broader cultural and economic narrative, including the ongoing fascination with collecting and preserving unique artifacts from everyday life. This has driven an active community of enthusiasts who share their discoveries, research, and market trends through online forums, social media, and specialized auctions, creating a vibrant ecosystem around the coin and its remarkable story. To sum up, the 2013 1-cent coin's journey from a humble piece of currency to a $4.5 million collectible is a fascinating saga shaped by a series of unusual and rare minting errors, from incorrect metal compositions to multiple strikes and die damage, that have combined to produce an exceptionally scarce and desirable coin. Its value is further amplified by its place in the broader context of American monetary history, the challenges facing penny production, and the passionate community of collectors who appreciate the beauty and rarity born from mistakes. As we reflect on this extraordinary phenomenon, it becomes clear that sometimes it is the very errors and imperfections that elevate an object from commonality to exceptional worth, capturing the imagination of collectors and historians alike. Thank you for joining this exploration of the remarkable 2013 penny, a testament to how even the smallest things can carry immense stories and value beyond their face. Last, today we delve into the fascinating world of numismatics and uncover the extraordinary story behind one of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence, the 2000 1 cent, a seemingly ordinary coin that commands an astonishing price tag of $3.8 million due to its unique errors and mistakes that have transformed it into a highly sought-after collector's treasure. While a penny might usually be overlooked as insignificant pocket change, the 2000 1 cent is anything but ordinary, as its journey from everyday currency to multi-million-dollar artifact is rooted deeply in a series of manufacturing anomalies that have captured the imaginations of collectors, historians, and experts around the globe. To fully appreciate the incredible value of this coin, we must first understand the context of its production, the nature of the errors it exhibits, and the possible reasons behind these mistakes, all of which converge to create an object that is as much a mystery as it is a marvel. Minted by the United States Mint in Denver, hence the D Mint mark, this penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and remains one of the most widely circulated coins in American history. However, the 2000 1 cent is far from ordinary. It is distinguished by several striking flaws that have led experts to classify it as an error coin of the highest caliber. The errors are varied and intricate, ranging from off-center strikes to doubled dies, misplaced mint marks, and even anomalies in the metal composition, each contributing to its uniqueness and rarity. Off-center strikes occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned within the coining press, causing the design to be partially missing or shifted, an error that is visually evident and significantly reduces the total number of coins with perfect centering. In the case of the 2000 1 cent, the off-center strikes are particularly dramatic, often exposing large blank areas of the coin's surface and creating an intriguing asymmetry that collectors prize for its imperfection. Furthermore, some specimens exhibit what is known as a double die error, a phenomenon that arises during the creation of the coin's dies, tools used to stamp the coin's design onto the blank. A double die occurs when the die itself carries overlapping or doubled images due to misalignment during the engraving process. This results in coins showing duplicated or blurred features, such as doubled lettering or numbers, which is highly sought after by numismatists because such errors are rare and cannot be replicated once the dies wear out or are corrected. In addition to doubled dies and off-center strikes, some 2000 1-cent coins also display misplaced or repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark indicating Denver was struck more than once or slightly off position. This error can sometimes cause overlapping or shadowed mint marks, adding yet another layer of uniqueness. The metal composition of the penny itself during this period also plays a role in its collectability. In 2000, pennies were made primarily of copper-plated zinc, a change from earlier years when pennies were mostly copper. Occasionally, errors in the metal mix or plating thickness would occur, producing coins with unusual coloring or weight, which further enhances the intrigue and rarity of these specimens. What makes these errors so valuable is not merely their visual peculiarity, but their scarcity combined with the story they tell about the minting process. The United States Mint produces millions of pennies each year with high precision and quality control. The appearance of such significant errors indicates moments when the machinery faltered, quality checks missed the flaws, and these coins escaped into circulation or were preserved before being discarded. Their rarity in the face of such a vast production volume elevates their status among collectors who prize the story behind the coin as much as its physical appearance. The 2000 1-cent valuation at $3.8 million reflects not just the cost of acquiring the coin but the immense cultural and historical value it carries. Numismatics experts consider the coin a window into the industrial processes of minting, an artifact that captures a rare failure in what is usually a flawlessly automated system. Such coins are often the centerpiece of prestigious collections and auctions, fetching sums that far exceed their face value due to the demand from enthusiasts who view them as symbols of rarity, mystery, and the beauty found in imperfection. Another factor contributing to the immense value of this penny is its provenance, its documented history of ownership and authentication by reputable numismatic institutions. Coins with verified pedigrees tend to command higher prices, and the 2000 1-cent has been examined by leading experts and graded with the highest possible condition ratings, ensuring that its value is recognized officially within the collector's community. Beyond the physical errors, there are also possibilities about why these mistakes occurred that add an element of speculation and allure. Some hypothesize that human error during die engraving or press setup, equipment malfunction, or even experimental minting runs might have contributed to these anomalies. Others suggest that certain coins could have been struck with dies that were unintentionally modified or reused beyond their optimal lifespan, leading to defects such as doubled dies or off-center strikes. These theories contribute to the mystique surrounding the coin and invite further research and discussion among collectors and historians alike. It is also worth noting the impact that these errors have on the market, as the rarity of such flawed coins introduces significant volatility and excitement among collectors. Auctions for coins like the 2000 1-cent often see intense bidding wars, where the value can soar based on provenance, condition, and current market trends. This market dynamic creates a scenario where the coin is not just a static collectible but a living artifact whose value fluctuates and grows as new collectors enter the space and compete for ownership. In addition to the economic factors, the 2000 1-cent also symbolizes the broader human fascination with mistakes and anomalies, highlighting how imperfections can sometimes create unexpected beauty and worth. The coin challenges the conventional notion that errors are inherently negative by demonstrating how flaws can transform something commonplace into a coveted masterpiece. This philosophical perspective adds a deeper layer of appreciation for the coin, connecting it to themes of serendipity, rarity, and the unpredictable nature of value. Finally, the story of the 2000 1-cent serves as a reminder of the intersection between art, history, and commerce within the field of coin collecting. It underscores how a small object, no larger than a fingertip, can carry immense significance due to the unique combination of its physical characteristics, the story behind its creation, and the passionate community that surrounds it. This coin is not merely currency but a symbol of chance, error, and the unexpected rewards that come with careful observation and appreciation of detail in our everyday lives. As we wrap up this deep dive into the remarkable 2000 1-cent, We hope you have gained a new understanding of how a coin with mistakes and errors can transform into an extraordinary piece valued at millions of dollars, embodying history, mystery, and the captivating allure of imperfection. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories from the fascinating world of collectibles and rare treasures.